And we're live.
Yo. Mic is on. Joe cracked the dawn. All right. Let's see. Got the Bluetooth speaker. Got some voicemails. Let me retweet to give us some juice. And do re mi fa sol la ti do. Let's go.
We're doing that Brooklyn Nets talk right here on Talkin Nets. Brooklyn, we go hard. Go hard. Talkin Nets. Hosted by Keith McPherson.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Talkin Nets. Losing sucks. I don't like watching losing efforts. I don't watch losing anything, or I don't like watching any losing anything. And now, man, I'm losing sleep. Under the weather. Drinking Airborne, popping Advils, trying not to get sick. The boy Alex was sick yesterday. We thought about recording, but his voice wasn't right, and now I knew I had to hit it today to make sure I was good. What's up, Alex? How you doing, man?
Good. I'm a lot better than I was yesterday. I don't know if you just saw. I was like, I muted myself.
No, I can hear you. Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you, and I'm right there with you, bro. My throat was starting to have that little tickle in it right when you get sick, and then I woke up today and I was like, oh shit, here it goes. It's cold and flu season. The Brooklyn Nets must be sick too. They're having cold and flu season out west. They need to get back home. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The West Coast trip ends 1-4. These guys just got to get back home, get into their apartments, their houses, their beds with their families, their wives, their kids, their thoughts, whoever it might be, and beat the Knicks. You kind of got to just flush these last couple games. It's tough, right? So going through it really quick, we're not going to talk about every game. And shout out to everybody in the chat. D-Rock, shout out to you, bro. You first. Glass half full or glass half empty? As we're doing a vibe check, I would say the glass is half empty right now because they kind of washed away the whole 6-1. And I was saying on WFAN last night, like, I'm mad that they went out west and lost all these games. Of course, they won the one game that we really wanted. But, like, before that stretch, we were talking about how, they're finding ways to win. They're winning games. And then they should have been undefeated through that stretch, but they lost that stupid game to Charlotte. And I feel like that's going to be the theme of the season, bro. Losing stupid games that you could have won. Alex Gonzalez says, what up? So, I mean, the vibe around the Brooklyn Nets right now, that they still are figuring it out. We're going to talk about each player. We're going to talk about Jacques Vaughn. We're going to talk about the schedule upcoming. But I don't want to spend too much time on, like, okay, for example, the last pod we did, we knew, right? I think we potted right before the back-to-back against the Denver Nuggets, right? We knew they were beat. We knew that they weren't going to be able to win that game. All right, we'll get there in a second. Hold on, there was something else I was trying to pull up. All right, so let's just show the last few games and this West Coast trip as we get a vibe check going and try and get some people to pull up to the chat. So, okay, obviously they beat the Wizards December 8th before they hit the road. And the theme was all, reunions, right? Harry Giles out in Sacramento. They lose that one. Sacramento shoots the lights out, breaking records. They can't stop them from hitting threes. That film travels. Anyway, the Nets get ready to face Kevin Durant and the Suns. Of course, they get hyped for that one. The first night of the Big Three. Brad Beal is already hurt again. But that night you did see KD, Beal, and Book all on the floor, and the Nets got the best of them and won that game. And we were all saying, oh, they won the trade. They won the trade. The Nets won the trade. Okay, so what? They went on to lose the next 3 games. We did not expect them to compete with the world champs on the second half of a back-to-back in that high altitude in Denver, Colorado. The Warriors game. Now, this game we're going to talk about in the Jazz game last night, we'll talk about briefly. So let's go to the Warriors game. when you're looking at the box score from this Warriors game, Cam Thomas goes off for 41. I just saw my guy Saint from Nets Kingdom put out a tweet, and this is something that like I get the narrative, and I don't have a problem with the narrative about Cam Thomas. And as we're gonna talk about player to player, Cam Thomas is a great young player. He's a great young scorer. He's a great Brooklyn Net. Good to have him. Homegrown, drafted him. But you know, I just saw Saint put this out there. We can stop the narrative that Cam only goes off in losses. The convo should be, why aren't his teammates stepping up? Now, that's exactly the conversation that I want to get into. But we'll look at this box score first, and we'll look at who needs to step up, who needs to be called out, who's making money and needs to do better. I know guys are hurt. I know injuries happen. I know this team has fought injuries the entire season so far. But come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. Come on, bruh. Come on, bro. Like, there's a couple guys that is just like, all right, I know this team isn't a super team. It's the Hooper team, but we need more from you. So let's go to the Golden State Warriors box score. What stood out for you, Alex, watching that Warriors game? I obviously started off with Cam Thomas going off for 41. You could tell he had some spirit about him with Steph Curry on the floor. You could tell he wanted to prove something, but the narrative is, and as of the last two games with Cam going off for 41 in this game and then going off for 32 last night, the narrative remains. The Nets don't win when he balls out. The Nets don't win when he goes for over 30. That's not their formula for success. So I'll let Alex take it away right now.
The problem is, as D-Rock put it, thank you for the $5, is that Jacques Vaughn has turned this team where you have two players that can easily make all defensive NBA first team, and another one of the best 3-and-D players in Dorian Finney-Smith, into a bad defensive team. This is a bad defensive team, and all those games that we lose is because we give up too many points, and that's unacceptable from Jacques Vaughn. On the other hand, there are certain players that just are not stepping up. Cam Johnson, you can make the argument, has been our most underperforming player this whole season.
Yep.
Considering his expectations, because there are some certain players, like I talked about, like Daron Sharp and Dennis Smith Jr. earlier in this season, or Spencer Dinwiddie or Royce O'Neal, where I didn't have as high as expectations as I did at Cam Johnson getting that bag. So we can't, going on from, like, you had to re-sign him. Like you couldn't. I'm not saying that we shouldn't re-sign him. I'm saying that you had to, because you couldn't just get him from that trade in the KD trade and have him as a 2-3 month rental and just let him go for nothing. And then once we re-sign him, like, okay, you kind of have to step up with Mikal, and I'll get into Mikal in a bit. But it's just not good enough. Like they're like, each player, like from our starting lineup, like has each had their signature game. Like Spencer Dinwiddie went off, I remember, for 30. Royce O'Neal had that 20 bomb. He just couldn't miss from 3 against the Bulls, I'm pretty sure. Cam Thomas has had a bunch. Mikal Bridges had a bunch. Claxton has had a couple. Cam Johnson has not had that yet. Like, Cam Johnson is not like, wow, he's been really good today. Like, he's been either average or below average almost every game, and it's not good enough.
And hurt.
After this season, you have to take into consideration, or maybe 2 seasons from now, you have to take into consideration that the Twins, like, cannot be together anymore, because if you want to have championship aspirations 2 seasons from now, where you need to make some big decisions on this team, then Cam Johnson is still the same player as he is from what we've seen this season, then you have to get rid. And then Mikal Bridges, I don't understand why Jacques Vaughn went for, when you're down 2, when there's like no difference between the shot clock and game clock, go for a quick 2. I mean, actually, I don't mind a quick 2, but I don't know why you give it to Mikal Bridges when he's been off all game. Cam Thomas had dropped 40, and you don't give it to him. It makes no sense. Jacques Vaughn, clearly, I don't care what people say where, he plays him now and he's like trying to make him a better playmaker. That's just Cam Thomas. That's not coaching. Cam Thomas is obviously going to get better.
He hoops.
Yeah. Like, he's been better at passing the ball. He's been a much better 3-point shooter this year. You give Cam Thomas the ball when it comes to clutch. Also, I don't know if you remember this. It was the first game of Mikal Bridges' net career where like after the trade. It was the 76ers game where we lost. The Dinwiddie hit it, but then it didn't count. Mikal Bridges had a chance to either take the lead or tie the game that game, and it was identical to the Warriors layup where it was wide open, and then I think he overhit it, and it like just
smoked the layup.
Yeah, I'm like there. I understand he hit the clutch shot against the Hawks, but Dinwiddie and Cam Thomas should be closers. Mikal Bridges should not be your closer, and Jacques Vaughn gave him a play, and that was the wrong decision. So.
He's trying to make him that. He's trying to make him that guy. He's trying to make him the focal point, the closer, the star of the team in crunch time situations. But you have two proven guys. You have guys like Spencer who just do it, and Cam who he's cooking. You give it to the hot hand. I don't know. Those are the type of things that you think about watching the game. Those are the type of things that stay with you after the game. You hope that they learn from it. But what do I always go back on? Jacques Vaughn is a former player, veteran player, coach. He leans on his veteran players in many situations, late in the game, crunch time, whatever. I don't know if he trusts Cam yet to drop a play for Cam. And with Spencer, I don't know. I give Spencer props, but it is what it is. So we've talked about Cam Thomas, but really everybody's talking about Cam Johnson, bro. He's averaging 13.9 points. That's 86th in the league. His $100 million is not 86 in the league. He's got 5 rebounds. That's 80th. 2.6 assists. Whatever. Field goal percentage, 44.5. I'm getting to the point where I understand twinning them. I understand them being best of friends. I understand even the Brooklyn Nets forcing the fact that they are, peas in a pod on us, where you look at the content on the Brooklyn Nets page and it's got these guys, how much do they know about each other? Oh, what job would you have if you didn't play basketball? How about you do your job and play basketball? Like Cam Johnson smoking layups, missing shots, 7 points last night. Let's go to the Jazz game, man. Jazz offense goes off. They weren't going off in the beginning of the game. They were down at half. That third quarter swung it. Then it was too little, too late. And the Jazz have a couple guys. You can't sleep on them. So looking at the box score, Cam Johnson, 7 points. You played 26 minutes. You're a starter on this team making $100 million. And you were the only guy not in double digits. You had 7 points. 2 of 9, 1 of 5 from deep. Okay, you knocked down your free throws, but he's leaving much to be desired as a new player on this team, as thing 1 and thing 2 to Mikal Bridges. And I was on the radio last night talking about his contract, and he's got a 4-year, $94.5 million contract. Jalen Brunson, his contract is for $23 million a year. He's making close to the same money as Jalen Brunson. 4 years, $104 million. Jalen Brunson's only making $10 million more than Cam Johnson. Jalen Brunson puts the ball in the hoop consistently. We need him to step up. And the last thing I'll say about it is this. Mikal Bridges went on the show with Taylor Rook's fine ass, and he straight up said, I hear the Brooklyn Nets fans. You hear them in the arena. He's on Twitter. He reads tweets. I'm sure these guys have burners, and they're in Nets Twitter spaces after games. Like, why not? When they're done and they're getting on the bus or they're going back to the hotel and they're on Twitter, let me hear what the fans got to say. Cam Johnson, we're rolling with you, bro. But it's about to be Christmas. You can't have these weak-ass performances and losses. Like, you got to be a leader on the team. Mikal Bridges is. That's your man's. We expect you to rise. I keep going back to seeing you with the Phoenix Suns. I mean, I remember watching you at UNC. You were supposed to be one of them ones. Where's it at, bro? If it's in there, bring it out. We need it sooner rather than later because I feel like that's something that the Brooklyn Nets are banking on. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Mikal, he admitted that he had a bad West Coast trip. But at the same time, he did say going into the West Coast trip, our goal is to stay above 500. And at the bare minimum, that means we would have had to go 2-3. And excuse me, where you look at the standings now, the Warriors game, I know they have Steph, who's still all world, and you have good players like Moses Moody, Kuminga, Dario Saric went off in the first quarter for some reason. I like Dario Saric, but he shouldn't be getting like 12 points off the bench in the first quarter. You win with all the Draymond stuff happening. Yep. You have to win this game and you have to win the Jazz game because they're two bad teams that will probably not make the playoffs. Jazz definitely won't make the playoffs. I know they have some decent players. They have Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, and then the Warriors obviously have some good players, but they shouldn't be better than this team. And if you win those two games, you're level with the Knicks, and it makes up into an enticing game back home, and you're locked in that 6th seed, and you're out of the play-in. But now you're in the 9th seed, and you're just making it so much harder on yourselves. And
ew.
Yeah, he's been good this season. Like you gotta do your like the Nets had to do their research. They had to do their film, and they just didn't because you could make the case that I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the rookie, I'll call him. I apologize.
Podziemski.
Podziemski. Okay,
he's got 19. He had 19 against us. He was 7 for 15. He hit 4 threes.
Yeah,
and the Nets looked like they never heard of him. Most people had.
Yeah, no. I remember him getting drafted, and I'm like, he probably won't get any playing time with the Warriors squad, but he is. He's actually starting over Andrew Wiggins now, and you can make the case that he's going to probably be in the all rookie first team with how he's playing with like Wemby, Chet, and Hawkes Jr., Brandon Miller probably as well. So, and then Steph goes out for 37. You know what he did the next night? You know,
laid an egg.
Zero threes.
Literally a goose egg.
In like 200 something games. Also, the craziest thing is I saw like who the like next best player is in that like active like 3-point streak, and it's Dame with 100 something.
Mm-hmm.
You know who second place is? Cam Johnson with like 50, which was actually kind of weird. It was kind of ironic, but that stat isn't. There's so many stats I see on Nets Twitter where I'm like, oh, the Nets are like top 10 efficiency in offense. Oh, with this lineup is really good. But the only stat that matters is the record. I don't
care about wins and losses.
Yeah, we're 500. We shouldn't be 500. Mikal, you made a promise to stay above 500 after the West Coast trip, and you guys failed to do that. It was a failure of a West Coast trip. Jacques Vaughn is not a good coach. I'll continue to say that. He's an average, below average coach. We saw it in Orlando back in the day. I know Orlando was a terrible team when he was coaching, but still. But yes, okay, like as soon as I say that, D-Rock said we're currently 11th on offense. We were as high as 8th a few weeks ago. Offense issue. Do you realize that it's gonna drop? Like, this is not sustainable. I don't understand the reason why we're
The problem is the defense.
Only focuses on offense. If Jacques Vaughn actually had a balance, our defense would be a lot better. And our
bros, it's simple. You gave up 125. You gave up 124. You gave up 124. Back 3 nights in a row, you gave over 124 points up. So it's hard to keep up because in those games, you did score over 100 points. But damn, like, you let the Nuggets put up 124, the Warriors put up 124, the Jazz put up 124, and I usually only show our box scores, but if I show the box scores of the other teams, everybody was getting some. Everybody, Dario Saric got 12. Andrew Wiggins, 14. The Brandon Podziemski kid, 19. Jonathan Kuminga, 10. And then, of course, you got Clay and Steph combining for 60 points, 61 points. You're not gonna hold them off on their home floor. You're not gonna win that game. I'm not even gonna mention the Nuggets game because like we already knew after them beating the Suns, second half of a back-to-back, whatever, we kind of gave that an excuse loss. But man, I wanted that game last night. I was pissed after that game last night because you had them, and that third quarter swung it. They went on a run. They were hitting their shots. It's a make or miss league. So if you're not making your shots, you need to be playing defense to make sure that they miss their shot. Let's look at how many double-digit scores they had. Harrison Barnes with 14. Who is this here? Trey Lyles with 17.
Oh, the Kings game. Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis with. I didn't even mean to go back to the Kings game. Because that's going way far back. I meant to click the Jazz game. You understand what I'm saying though? Like,
yeah.
I don't care where our offense is ranking. It's all about who scores the most points. So you got to get stops. You got to play defense. But no, I heard you, D-Rock. Let's see what else they're talking about in the chat. I just put up the banner to leave questions in the chat. We'll go back to the top. Losing sucks, especially when you feel like you have a talented enough team to win, especially when you feel like you're in games. And this season is going to be a season of, you know what? When we end up in the fucking play-in, we're going to think about there's about a handful of games that they should have won that could have got us out of that. Don't let it be a close game against Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle and IQ and them coming up. We'll talk about that in a minute. Shmuel says, Keith is the best. I make my schedule to be up late to listen to you. I appreciate that. I'm tired. I tell people on air, there's not one human being I would stay up to listen to at 2 a.m. in the morning. So you doing that for me, we're locked in. Appreciate you. What's up, Talkin Nets? What's up, Ramel? I see Ramel active in the chat. Let's see what Ramel's talking about. He says, I feel it's going to be a lot of downs and some good with this team. Hopefully they will figure this out. Yeah, that's literally where we're at right now. We felt good about going 6-1 through 7 games, and then you go on the road, it's like right back down. What would make us true contenders? I just want to know. I'm 32 years old. I want to be alive to hopefully see them win a chip. I feel front office not doing enough and our coach not making the right moves. We're coming off of an era where we thought the superstars, the big three, the big names are going to actually get us a chip or bring us into a finals, maybe even an Eastern Conference Finals contention, and they fell flat on their face. They were never close. So I don't have the answer to that. I'm 35. I've been watching the Nets for about 20 years consistently, and I never actually, I was like 15 when they went to the finals. And after that, after Vince Carter couldn't get him back to the finals, it's been real. It's been fun. There's been some hopes and some dreams, but mostly it's been failure. It's been misery. It's been losses. It's been frustration. Sorry, Nets fans. You know what I'm talking about. D-Rock says, what would make us true contenders is creating an effective defensive philosophy that fits our players. Top 10 and better will suffice. And that's the issue I think Alex is having right now and I'm having right now when I look at the Nets. Because coming into this season, they talked about how defense was supposed to be their identity. They have a bunch of defensive-minded players. They lose Ben Simmons. They lose that identity. Shout out to Joel. Bird's eye view. Cam Johnson was horrendous last night. Shout out to Joel, who helped us throw some things together. In the notes, he said Cam Johnson's got to step up. And he said that before the game last night. Before the game, we were saying he's getting paid too much money to not have a great impact. Joel says, is it an Olympic hangover? Is he injured? Could the Nets move off some of his money and use his money to re-sign Claxton? And that brings us to my next point today. I don't know if you guys caught that story from my guy, Michael Scotto. What up, Scotto? Brooklyn Nets center Nick Claxton hopes to re-sign with the team in free agency. I spoke with 12 NBA executives to gauge his free agent value and spoke with Claxton about his future, team expectations, the core going forward, and more on Hoops Hype. Now, the quote from Nick Claxton, I should have pulled. He said something along the lines of like, I want to be here.
He said,
I don't know if he said that. He said, I'm here now. He said, I would love to be here. Go ahead, Alex. I'll get the actual quote.
He said he wants to stay. I mean, he said he wants to be on a team that he's appreciated in, which makes sense. He wants to be on a team that he's loved at, which also makes sense. But he also said he wants to stay. And if the Nets let him go for nothing, then I know where the whole team's head's at. D-Rock also mentioned paid, put us 8th or 9th playing, and I don't know why it's frustrating me, because there are so many easy games that you could have won. And I don't want to hear, and John Fon in the press conference after the loss last night.
I don't listen anymore.
He said yeah, the injuries took a toll on us. I'm like that's not an excuse anymore. I get we get injuries every year. We get injuries every year.
Every team has injuries, has suspensions, has Draymond Green got to go home and go to counseling. John Morant, you got to go to court. Like, every team has their issues and things. Look at the Suns being banged up, being injured. Like, it's part of the game. Enough excuses. Did I get the quote? Yeah. Shout out to Billy Reinhart. Billy, come back on Talkin Nets, bro. Where you been? It's been like 4 years. Nick Claxton on what he's looking for in free agency. A place where I'm wanted. I'm here now. Hopefully everything works out with Brooklyn. I love it here. So that was Billy Reinhart getting the quote from Michael Scotto's article. I'd like to see Claxton remain in net. I like the homegrown Nets. I like the guys that we drafted, we picked, that have a sense of pride. And, like, if you see him, even last night, I think he took an elbow and he took kind of offense to it, getting in KD's face. Like, come on. How do you not love that as a Nets fan, right? Like I'm drafted by this franchise. I ain't never played for another franchise. I'm not trying to go anywhere. You a team hopper. You a homie hopper. I'm going to call you out on it. What else? Let's see what else they're talking about in the chat. But, yeah, appreciate y'all throwing money in the chat. Make it rain on them hoes. I'll make it rain. Make it rain, man. Make it rain on them hoes. I think our balance is like $56 off of y'all throwing money in the chat, for real. We rich, boy. We rich. That'd get me and Alex 2 seats up in the steep ass part of Barclays Center. Nah, you could probably get in for the low. Honestly, I haven't been to enough games this year because I got a baby. But you guys should go. You guys should go. And that brings me to my next part as we kind of wrap things up here. The New York Knicks, the battle of the boroughs. And then also the conversation with the Knicks and the Nets as far as trade targets, right? Donovan Mitchell, all the rumors about Donovan Mitchell wanting to come back to New York. Do you guys see Donovan Mitchell playing for the Knicks or the Nets? And right now, the Knicks, they're banged up. They lost Mitchell Robinson a couple weeks ago, not even last week. And then they lost Jericho Sims last night. So they're down to Isaiah Hartenstein, and they picked up Taj Gibson. Old man Taj Gibson. He got to be about 40. But, Tibbs.
He's younger than LeBron. Can you believe that?
Is he really?
Yeah.
LeBron is stupid, bro. LeBron. Let's talk about LeBron. Taj Gibson is 38. Wow. LeBron and the Lakers hanging that banner up and giving out shirts. That's not it for me. That's not it for me. So let's do some general NBA talk as I get the one voicemail queued up. Did you guys think that was jiggy at all? Do you think that, I didn't like that they put that banner next to actual world champ? Put it by itself. Put it somewhere else. Don't put it in a set of 6 as the 6-1. It's not the same. And then if I was a fan, I guess I would pull up and get the free T-shirt, but I'd be like, are you serious, yo? We got the Mickey Mouse Disney bubble ring, and now we got the in-season tournament ring, man. Get the hell out of here with this. We want a finals. We want a championship. Kobe brought us championships. Magic brought us championships. Shaq brought us championships. Kareem brought us championships. LeBron James, this is what you're doing, LeBron James. You winning everything but the championship. I'm just playing. Respect to the king. Could Clax play the 4 next to Cat? That's another name that has been floated.
Everyone was saying that in the offseason when the Wolves were kind of, they didn't have a very good season last year. But look at them now.
Right.
They're the best team in the West. And
it takes time. It takes time. And I know people are like, oh, well, Rudy Gobert got choked out and Cat didn't do anything. So what? Cat's not trying to get suspended. And he's also not trying to mix it up with Draymond. I think their chemistry is fine. They've got 3 players over there, and Gobert and Ant-Man and Cat. When they step on the floor, they can rock with pretty much anybody for real. And I don't want to discredit my boy Nas Reed, who's from Asbury Park, New Jersey. He's with them still too. So
and shout out Michael Grady too. I'm
yeah,
happy for him.
yeah. Michael Grady's getting to call their games. Not for nothing. He leveled up. He left Brooklyn. He leveled up. Let's see what I got on the voicemail before we wrap things up. Big fan Breezy in the chat. What up, yo? Yo, we need to get you on a pod, big fan. We got to get you on a pod soon. Let's figure it out sooner rather than later. Let's see how many voicemails we got. All right. I think we got 2 voicemails, then we're out of here.
What's up, Keith? What's up, Alex? The rest of Talkin Nets. Big respect. This is Greg. After that loss against the Utah Jazz, I'm telling you, I do not trust the coach in Jacques Vaughn. I think he needs to be fired, and I'll give Kevin Ollie the benefit of the doubt because I think he would be a better coach than Jacques Vaughn. Now, don't get me wrong, he is. Now, Jacques Vaughn, he's a good coach, but he's not the great coach. He's not that type of coach that's willing to give his players the energy to take it to the next level. So that's pretty much what I got to say. I mean, you should check his track records. And I don't care what anybody say. Jacques Vaughn, he's not the right coach for the Brooklyn Nets. I believe Kevin Ollie should be the coach of the Nets. And with Kevin Ollie's defensive line and his offensive scheme, I think he will help this team and better pieces. I think the Nets from there will go from there. But if you look at the crystal ball too, I don't think the Nets will make the playoffs. They got to show me and show us Nets fans how they could do it going to the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, can they get to the 6th, 7th seed and the play-in tournament and into the playoffs? Show us and then go from there. Let's go Nets.
Let's go Nets. I mean, I heard you, bro. I think when you lose these close games, when there are expectations to win, the Nets came into that game last night as 3.5-point favorites and lost by 17. Like that shit, bro. Like that shit pissed me off for no reason last night. I'm watching Monday Night Football and I'm watching the Nets, and they had the lead at half, and then that third quarter was dumb as hell. Whatever. That falls on the coaching. That falls on Jacques Vaughn. And that's why people are going to start calling for his job. I don't like to call for people's jobs, but it is what it is. Rahala in the chat said JV fire chance on the way. Can you imagine in Barclays, they lose to the Knicks and fans start chanting fire JV? I don't know, something like that. The Brooklyn Brigade would never do that. But
we're going to be on the verge of a I have no confidence in going against the Knicks, and I have no confidence going against the Nuggets. So that means we'll be on a
5-game losing streak.
5-game losing.
Sheesh. Typical Nets, though. There hasn't been one season that I've done this podcast that the Nets didn't go on a 5-game losing streak.
And guess what?
Standard.
We come up against the Pistons twice in a row. I'm gonna say it right now. I think we're splitting that.
Oh no, I hope not.
We have this weird like
play down to our competition, like we lost to the Charlotte Hornets at home.
When we go to Motown, like when we go play in Detroit,
Little Caesars Arena, place sucks.
It's like we have this weird like energy where we just like don't show up for some reason. Like it happened once when it was like KD, Harden, and Kyrie. I remember that game so vividly.
With DeAndre Jordan fucking up.
Yeah, and then after that, everything just changed. I remember after that game, and then we had one where it was just Kyrie and he went off and he had to carry the whole team. Last year, KD had this insane heat check in the third quarter when we were down by like 20 against the Pistons. We were down by like 20, and like at some point we're always losing to the Pistons, but at the very end we either barely lose or barely win. You know, did we hit that like game winner a few seasons ago?
Yeah, revenge for him.
This is just I just have that weird feeling that like Nick we're losing to the Knicks.
We're gonna lose to the Knicks. We'll have another reunion with DeAndre Jordan.
We'll lose.
Speaking of the devil, we'll lose to the Nuggets at home.
We'll beat the Pistons at home, but
on
then
Saturday,
I think we're gonna have some sort of Christmas hangover.
Yep, the letdown Tuesday, the day after Christmas. Nobody wants to go all the way to whack-ass Detroit, Michigan. That's the letdown. Then you got to come home and face Giannis running dunk man in the Bucks.
Yeah.
December in my entire life has been a month where, like, if you're into basketball, even when like AAU basketball or high school basketball, December is the month, yo. December is a month. It gets real in the NBA. It starts at the other levels, even college basketball. It might be a rough December for your Brooklyn Nets. It started off all right, but it might end up being a rough December for your Brooklyn Nets. All right, what else did we not show here? We showed all the losing. Yep, we showed all the L's. But sure, at least they beat KD for whatever it's worth. Yeah, we talked about Cam Thomas and the narrative that the Nets only lose, but like go look at his best performances. It's not a knock on Cam. It's a knock on the team and the coaching. If you have a scorer that can go off for 30 to 40 points, what are the rest of y'all doing? It ain't all on him. It ain't all him on the defensive side that he's not able to, hold guys under 124 points. All right, let's see what you guys got in the chat. Actually, there's one more voicemail. Let's play that, and then we'll hit the chat and close.
Yo, what up, Keith? What up, Talkin Nets? Shout out to everybody. I hope I'm watching the show. I just wanted to leave a voicemail real quick. Thanks for pulling up, helping us make sense for all of this. Oh, man, Nets fans are in the uproar. They call us a jock ball, and I said, no, hold it down. You know what I mean? We all a little perturbed, but we got to get back to the fundamentals. Chuck Vaughn said earlier to the team, like last week, that we need to get to a place where we can all be transparent and critique our game. That, to me, shows leadership, chemistry, cohesiveness. That's what that builds on. And I just want the assistant coaches to do the same thing with John Vaughn, pulling to the side, like, yo, maybe we should do this on defense, or maybe we should do that. That being said, hug that three-point line like your grandmother on Thanksgiving. Hug it. Stop letting the offense score from there. Make them do something different. Pump fake to the basket, something. But you have to stop. You have to guard up on that three-point line and take it from there. Shout out to Keith. Shout out to Talkin Nets. Shout out to Adam, right? Shout out to all of y'all. I'm in the chat. Let's go Talkin Nets.
Yo, shout out to Alvin. Hey, yo, shout out to Alvin, Adam.
Isn't that hard? Like,
shout out to Aaron though. That shit's funny as hell to me, bro. You are. Anybody with a first name that starts with A. My guy's name is Alex. I call him Double A. People done called him 5 different names this season. That's hilarious, yo. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you on the whole 3-point line thing. I talked about it after the West Coast teams saw the performance of Light the Beam and Sacramento against the Nets. They're like, oh, we can easily shoot on them. Let it rip, fire it up from deep, bang. But they got to get better. All right, let's wrap things up. Ramel says, Keith, congrats again, Keith, on your newborn. About to have my second, just found out. Man, God bless. What a Christmas blessing to you. 2 kids is trouble, though. I was told once you, my doctor, Dr. Mo, he said once you have 2 kids, it becomes them 2 versus y'all 2, as far as like you and your wife or significant other, your baby's mother, and they always win. They always win. Big fan Breezy, appreciate you, bro. Tap that like if you're out here. Rahala says, shout out to Alvin. Shout out Adam. I can't think of any more A names. Shout out Avery. Shout out Aaron. Always good to get a little laugh in our Nets misery. Nets will beat the Knicks and Bucks, but lose to the Pistons. Never know Nets. That would be it, right? They get up for those games, and They got a chip on their shoulder, man. When is Lonnie Walker coming back? When is Dennis Smith Jr. coming back? Because not for nothing, we need those guys too.
You know it's bad when you're asking for those two back.
That's a shame, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where we've gotten.
I also don't know why. Last thing I'll say, Jalen Wilson should not be getting NBA minutes right now. I understand he's a rookie. I think he needs to get more minutes with the Long Island Nets and along with Tariq Whitehead. But I think Harry Giles should get more minutes. Honestly, I don't understand why.
I'm with that. I thought it was interesting that like Harry Giles was not. I don't know. I look at Harry Giles as someone that they could figure it out with that could be serviceable. But what do I know, man? Let's go Nets, man. Pick it up, man. Coming back home to home cooking. Can't lose to the freaking Knicks. Don't want to hear it. Let's see. Getting back to the fundamentals. Can't we switch 2-4 with Clax, McHale, and Cam J, but play drop with a stretch 5? Playing small ain't the answer. Yeah, I blame Ben Simmons, Joe. This is all Ben Simmons' fault. I blame Ben Simmons, bro. Going back to what Big Fan Breezy said, and along with what D-Rock said, I think there's got to be like a players only meeting, a check your ego at the door meeting, and being like, yo, buy in, lock in, do what we got to do. There's no superstar on this team. This is not the super team. This is the Hooper team. We got to come together and win. We got to come together and lock in and play defense. Protect home court. All right. Make sure you subscribe, like the pod. Appreciate y'all, man. Make sure you follow Talkin Nets everywhere. Appreciate y'all, man. And, I put out the call for help on Talkin Nets. And shout out to Joel for responding. He hit us with some topics. We used a couple of them in the pod. And, we plan on working with everybody in this community that, like, this is not for money. This is not for fame. This is for Nets fans to have a space where we pull up and talk about the Nets on YouTube, on a podcast, and there's no Knicks fans in the mix or no other fan bases in the mix or somebody pretending like they rock with the Nets talking about the Nets. It's actual Nets fans that stay up for a West Coast trip like some goofies and watch the Nets lose them games. I'm just playing with y'all because I did the same thing too. I'm like, why am I staying up watching these West Coast games? Let me get another drink, man. Anywho, that's all we've got. Appreciate the money thrown in the chat. We came up today for real. Damn, we made $13 in the chat today. Hustling every day. I'm hustling. If you guys are going to the game, have a good time. Don't let those Knicks fans do anything in BC. Protect our arena. Let's go Nets. Let's go Nets. Brooklyn. And hit the end.